Hey, this is Tom Scully, coming to you from beautiful downtown Cherville, Indiana. Anyway, um, I was watching the television the other day, and who should pop up but old Joe Biden? Yeah, and he was being interviewed by BBC. I think Joe is one of these guys who's not going to go gently into that good night. He's going to stick around as best as he can. Um, anyway, so there he was, and I watched a little bit of that. But then the next day, he got on the View, and I was just fortunate um, that the View uh, is the program out today rather than Jerry Springer, because I think that Joe probably would have taken the latter if he could have. But he just doesn't seem to want to give it up, and it's fine. But the problem with Joe was he seems to want to reinvent history. Uh, he he's talking about how successful uh, his administration was, and I think most people take a look at it and they come back with a little bit of a different idea. He did have some successes. Uh, everything he did was not bad, but when I look back at it, the first thing I can remember is the Afghanistan fiasco, and a lot of people died there. And not only did people die, but we had a lot of our uh, a tremendous amount of military equipment was left there, and as a result, the Afghanis are, in some respects, better equipped than many other countries that even are our allies. Uh, but so that was one of the things that happened, and then of course he seems to forgot about um, about the inflation. So the inflation was pretty bad, and then he talked about COVID, and he seemed to think that COVID actually hurt him. He said that COVID was one of the worst things that happened during this administration. But my thought was that COVID was probably the best thing that happened to his administration, because it allowed him to campaign from his basement, and as a result, he was elected. And people did not see just what his problems were, and he does have a lot of problems. So when I saw him come on to the View, he kind of toddled over there, uh, and um, and they asked him a bunch of marshmallow questions, uh, and they were kind of fawning all over him. But as much as they did that, uh, anybody that took a look at that could see that Joe was not all that alert. He was forgetting some of the things that he was saying. He was staring off into the distance, and he just didn't seem to uh, be connecting with some of the questions that were asked of him. Uh, and then it was indicated that he started talking about the new guy, Trump. And again, Trump is not without his problems. I mean, if people say that Trump is a bully, Trump's got a big mouth. Trump does a lot of things that uh, get people aggravated. There's no doubt about that. But by the same token, he seemed to indicate that Trump's first 100 days were the worst days of any president, and that in fact that with Trump, that his presidency was one of the worst. Uh, One of the worst, and so it just seemed to me as though that he was forgetting a lot of what happened. um, he he indicated he during the second part of that interview, his wife came on, Jill, and she indicated that he was probably the most energetic of any president. That he worked around the clock, and that he would stay up late at night, and while she was going to sleep, he was still on the phone doing all sorts of things. But most people say that were around Joe that Joe didn't get to the office until 10 o'clock, and he usually left at 4 o'clock. That he took more days off than any president uh, in memory. He took 570 days off, or 40% of his presidency. So that didn't seem to be to an individual who was working round the clock. But and so, uh, but again, he uh, he seemed to be forgetting a number of things. He talked about Trump, and he talked about Trump as being somewhat dishonest. But that seems to be the pot calling the kettle black. Uh, when when Biden was at Syracuse, he he actually plagiarized 5 pages of a law review article from Fordham, and as a result, he ended up getting an F for that course. And since that time, he's been accused numerous times of plagiarism and making false statements. One of the statements I can remember he was making when he first started out was he was going to he was going to be president for one term, and then he was going to be handing it off. But somewhere along the line, Joe seemed to like the job and decided that he wasn't going to give it up at all. And he is was the oldest president who served, and of course, if he had served the second term, he would have been 86 by the time he left office. So he seemed to indicate uh, that he didn't want to give the job up, and it was only after he was pressured by other people in the party that he finally reluctantly gave it up. But there's an argument to be made that that actually caused Kamala to lose the election, or at least it prevented a open primary where there could have been other candidates, and so. But that's another thing that Joe seemed to forget about. But in any event, uh, that my I've never really felt particularly fond of Joe, for the reason that I can remember when I was in law school that and it was a relatively this is Rutgers, and it was a relatively liberal law school, and Joe was not held in real high esteem at that time because people were laughing about the fact that he got caught with this plagiarizing these articles, and so that's I always had a feeling about Joe that he was a person who was a less than honest. The other thing about Joe was I felt that he actually probably never would have been president, except for the fact that Barack Obama uh, picked him as a vice president. And I think that he picked him as a vice president in many respects for the same reason that many people voted for George Bush. He was kind of the guy that was somebody that you could have a beer with or you could talk to, but he was a regular guy. He was a guy that might appeal to a white working class group of people, and so he helped Obama win the election. And of course, in any event, that's that's kind of my take on Joe. But um, so uh, I think that when you look back at his presidency, I'm having trouble reconciling some of the things that he was saying on the View. He was saying that basically he had an excellent foreign policy, um, which I don't think is true. He seemed to think that the border was quite secure, and that it was Trump that stopped the fact that um, that they couldn't stop the aliens from coming across the border because Trump had spoken to some people in the Congress, and he convinced them uh, to oppose Biden's legislation. So I don't know if that's true because Biden indicated that um, he indicated that he didn't want to. He couldn't do anything without uh, without uh, new legislation. Uh, but when Trump got in, it seemed that within a week the border was closed, and the border's been closed since that time. Um, so that's pretty much my thought process. But I think that Joe is trying to reinvent himself, and so when I saw this interview, I just thought that sometimes some things are just so uh, obviously wrong that they've got to be corrected. And it seemed to me that that this is one of those times that the Biden presidency, to my mind, was a failed presidency. And I think there's a good argument to be made for the fact that he may have been one of the worst presidents in modern history, and nothing really seemed to get done. And I think that's the reason that the election was lost. And I think also the fact that it became readily apparent that he was diminished in his capacity, and so uh, when he had that fateful when he had that fateful uh, um, uh, meeting with Trump, it became obvious. But I thought that it was obvious before that time that he seemed to be a frail individual. He was losing his balance. He was falling. He was unable to remember things. He was getting lost. He was forgetting where he was. He was forgetting his train of thought. And I thought that it was very dangerous for the country. Very dangerous to the effect that here we had probably the most powerful position in the world, and we had somebody that was cognitively impaired. And so, what could have possibly have happened during that time was anybody's guess. But so that's about all I have to say about that one. I just thought that it deserves somebody talking about it, and that's what I'm doing. And having said that, I think that will do it for me.